Hi loves, it's Elle and welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for being here. Today is another episode and installment of our Ask the Doctor series. Today we're going to be talking all about silicones in our cosmetics and skincare. So if you want to know more about that, hit the subscribe button, share this video with somebody you think might like it, and let's do it. Alright, so if you've been watching me long enough, you know that I try to point out when silicones are in a cosmetic, specifically more of a foundation, and of course in any skincare. Personally, my standpoint is that I try my best. I am not perfect and it's super hard to do. I try my best to stay away from silicones. If they happen to be in a foundation, I want to make sure that they're in nothing else that I use. I did a video a long time ago, about a year and a half ago, all about silicones. I will link it below because it's a pretty lengthy video and it gives you my real opinion about silicones. There are two schools of thought and there also is another one right down in the middle. Most people on an average basis don't think about it. A lot of specialists, a lot of experts have no problem with silicones. They think it's a benefit. Some experts, some people, some doctors actually find it to be a very harsh ingredient. So my personal standpoint is, again, I try not to keep it in my skincare. For me, I find it, and also too for my clients that I work with, I try to limit them in their silicone use because, again, my opinion is that it creates this film on the skin, and although it doesn't go into the skin, it creates a film that can trap toxins and pollutants in the skin that can't get out. Also layer, and then obviously that leads to a whole host of different skin concerns and different conditions. It's also really important to note that silicones come in a wide variety of them. I mean, there are way too many to list in one video or in one, in one post. But there are a lot of different types of variations. Some are a lot better for you, or a lot better or more okay than others. There are a lot ones that are a little bit that are heavier, that are really occlusive, that really create a barrier over the skin. Specifically ones that are higher weighted. Dimethicone is one that you probably have heard of a ton. So my personal, my personal suggestion is to try your best to stay away from them. Now, I know that you've heard from me about this topic a lot. That's why I'm not going into great detail about how I feel. I want you to hear from our panel of experts. If you don't know who these people are, please click the link below. It's our first episode and I introduce you to all of them, and they are leading experts in their field and will give you a wide variety of an opinion on this topic. So let's start off with Dr. Stephanie Kappel. My question to them was, how do you feel about silicones in skincare? Benefits? Negatives? Question mark. She says, benefits include the silky smooth texture that puts less traction on the skin with ease of application and therefore less wrinkles after long-term use. Negatives include a barrier film that coats the skin with questionable toxicity, although this data is unclear. The truth is that many skincare products contain silicones and have for years, so don't let this stop you from using a cream you like just because it has silicones in it. I think it's a really genius way to put it. If it doesn't bother you, a lot of people have allergies or have a sensitivity to silicones in them. You will know if you are those people, especially people that are acne prone, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis. I mean, that is going to be, again, in my opinion, something that you should be staying away from. But if you have normal skin type and it doesn't seem to bother you and you have a favorite cream that has it in it, go for it. And that's basically what Stephanie is saying. I just would be very careful on how many of your products have them in it, I guess is my 2 cents. But yes, as she says, they're in products because they create a smooth swiping of, if you could say, across the skin. So they allow products to move across the skin at a very nice kind of glacier application. So they're in there for a reason for sure. Do I find them to be a cheap filler? That's just my opinion. But again, they are in there for a certain reason. So let's get into our next experts, my girls from the Chemist Confession.
Number 3, how do you feel about silicones in skincare?
Ooh.
Is it a benefit or a negative? It's kind of a big topic.
Yeah.
Silicones is used. It's a really big category of ingredients.
Huge.
It can cover like liquids, kind of oily substances,
Very confusing.
waxes,
Yeah.
even powders. So yeah, generally speaking, it can be a good ingredient to use. It's generally speaking lighter, lighter textured. There are some that are a little questionable.
From an environmental perspective, we've also seen that those with eczema sometimes struggle with it. So that's why the silicone category is so complicated, and the naming scheme definitely doesn't help decipher like which of these are good and bad. Now, granted, there are good silicones too, and they're used in things like scar therapy. So definitely not. We shouldn't like rule out the entire category.
Right.
It's just complex.
Right. Sorry, it seems like a cop out. Just a really,
Yeah.
really big, long topic. So,
Yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting. There are a whole host of them, and it is a very, very complex topic. And that's why it's hard for experts to speak about it. So I do respect them and their opinion on that. All right, so let's get into Janelle from Lemieux. So Janelle says, so remember, Janelle is an amazing skincare expert and formulator. So she really knows these ingredients. I'm not a big fan of silicones if they are being applied in layers from many products that are used daily. So what she's saying is if, like I just said, they're used, like every product you have or several products you have in your routine have silicones in them. There are many natural oils that function as a lipid barrier that can be more nourishing than silicones. Silicones add a great texture to skincare products and also enhance the look of the products. However, at times it can create some congestion for younger skin or oily or acne prone. I personally like to formulate with as little as possible with silicones because of the large selection of other nourishing ingredients that can be added to improve the texture of the products and also function as a moisturizing ingredient, because silicones are a moisturizing ingredient. They are occlusive, so they lock in hydration. Silicones have their place and function, but should not be contained in most products being applied to the face. These ingredients are relatively new to the skincare industry based on the history of raw materials used in formulas, so long-term results from the use of many layers of silicone-based products will be more prevalent in the future. So basically what she's saying is these are relatively new in the skincare industry, obviously not like 5 years ago, but they are relatively new, so we don't know the outcome that will be scientifically researched from using many silicones in your product. So again, the research and the data needs to be done, and obviously more long-term on this ingredient. So that's what she is saying here, is that it will be studied, and those studies will come out in the future. Love that take on it. All right, so let's hear from Dr. Sarah Tonks. She says, generally speaking, I like them. They have a distinctive, pleasant feel and can be very useful for people with drier skin types. Yes, it can cause other people to have acne, blackheads, and breakouts, but obviously if you are not in that category, then don't use them. I like them for use on areas such as hands, like in hand creams. She likes them because she's washing her hands so much because she is a doctor. So using something that actually creates a film over the skin will be something that's beneficial for her. Awesome. All right, so 2 more to go. Let's hear from Dr. Ben Johnson, the formulator and founder for Osmosis. He says, I have one product with silicones. It's the Catalyst AC-11. The key to its use is that the total amount that goes on your skin is less than 3% of the combined serum you use. The reason for this is silicones do not penetrate the skin, so they do not cause inflammation. And remember, inflammation is his big sticking point, his hot button that he wants to be able to decrease in the skin. However, in excess, they can clog the skin, cause a buildup of toxins that can't get out of the follicle. Catalyst AC-11 has 1.5% because the hydroxy molecules are inherently very sticky, and we need to minimize that for consumer satisfaction reasons. So a lot of times silicones are put into products honestly for our benefit because we're used to being like, oh, it needs to slip. Just like fragrances, fragrances are put in to hide the natural odor of some of the ingredients that are in there. So it's really, a lot of this stuff is really in there for consumer benefits, and it's because of this expectation that we want the best of both worlds, which I just don't necessarily know if we can have all of it. I think we're gonna have to pick or choose, but hopefully as technology evolves over the years, we will be able to have the best of both worlds. All right, so for our last one, it is Barber Green from Exuviance. She says, I love silicones in skincare products, hair care products too. You can't beat the beautiful aesthetic benefit and light protective effects that silicones bring to topical formulations. Well, I should say you can't beat them, because we are trying. So at Neostrata, they are trying to find something that will beat silicones for the consumer's experience. She says, recognizing the need for silicone replacement, and as an ethical global citizen, our R&D team is well on its way to finding the next best thing. I love that, and I think we should definitely leave off on that. There are some environmental implications of using silicones. I will let you do your own research if that is something that is important to you. I feel like it should be important to all of us, but that comes along with the use of plastics and polymers and things of that nature, but plastics especially in packaging. But there are some implications, obviously, on the world at large. So that's why she says she's an ethical citizen. So I love to hear that they're working on alternatives to silicones. I think the overall consensus here is what works for you. As all skincare is what works from you. I know hearing from different doctors can be sometimes confusing to you guys, but my point here is to show you all sides of every coin. So we're not just driving home what I might believe in, because obviously, as you see here, some of the doctors don't agree with me, and that's okay. And that is my personal choice to believe what I would like to believe in, and recommendations that I make. So overall, all in all, choose what works for you. I think the overall consensus, though, is that if you are more of that sensitive skin or acne or oilier skin types, try your best to stay away from them. And also, too, that the industry as a whole is trying their best to reduce the use of them and to give us products that we love with minimizing the use of silicones in the products. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope that this helps you understand why silicones are in products and what the experts actually say. And again, you're going to always hear two sides of the coin, and there's probably a third of every coin as well. So thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Lots of love from me to you. Bye, loves.